Hear it here first, where Kimmy's world is your world. So, you guys, I really hate to report this type of news because you all know that I absolutely adore Eric Mays. But it has come to my attention that the late councilman's son accuses funeral home of holding his body hostage. What? Now, Flint City Councilman Eric Mays died from natural causes last month. Then things got weird according to the new lawsuit. Now, Eric Hakeem Deontay Mays, identified as the councilman's only child in court documents filed Monday, alleges that violations of Michigan law, fraud, and conspiracy by the Lawrence E. Moon Funeral Home and four siblings of the late councilman have been committed in connections with the handling of his remains. Now, Eric Mays died without a will, according to the lawsuit, which claims that only his son Eric has next of kin rights as to how to handle his remains. But the suit alleges that two of the elder Mays siblings instead lied to authorities that he had no children and that a third sibling, an employee of the Moon Funeral Home, falsely represented to the Genesee County Medical Examiner's Office that he had the legal authority to authorize the release of his body. Now in possession of Mays' remains, the Moon Funeral Home has refused to turn them over to Eric, the lawsuit alleges. Now, Eric claims he has provided the company with the legally required documentation to authorize the release of the remains. Now, Eric's complaint also accuses the siblings of unjustly profiting from their fraudulent scheme by soliciting in-person donations from the community under the false premise that they were the late councilman next of kin to purportedly raise money for funeral services that they have no legal authority to control. Now, Eric is asking a judge to cancel funeral plans arranged by the Moon Funeral Home for this coming weekend and order the release of his father's remains to the funeral home of his choice. He is also seeking a judgment for compensatory, punitive, and exemplary damages, as well as interest and legal fees. Wow. Now, an attorney representing Eric told Flint Beat on Monday that the Moon Funeral Home was disrespecting the life and legacy of the late councilman Eric B. Mays by holding his body hostage and refusing to turn it over to his son, and by participating in an unlawful conspiracy with estranged rogue members of the late councilman's family to deprive his son his right to lay his father to rest. Now, when a reporter for MLive.com called the Moon Funeral Home on Monday, y'all know what they said? The person who answered the phone said they had no comment on the lawsuit. A sister of Mays similarly told the outlet that the siblings had no comment. The elder Eric Mays represented the First Ward on the Flint City Council from 2013 until his death at the age of 65 on February the 24th. The city of Flint held him in a statement for his bold and courageous service, saying he had been adored by his constituents. Now, Councilman Mays was not only a dedicated public servant, but also a tireless champion for the people of Flint. Flint City Council President Liddell Lewis said in his statement last month, according to WRJRT. Now, his unwavering commitment to the betterment of our community has left an indelible mark, and his absence will be deeply felt by all who had a privilege of knowing him. So this is the obituary for Eric Mays. It talks about the public viewing, allegedly supposed to be March the 8th from 12 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We really need to keep his family in our prayers. I just hope and pray that his children work through these difficulties. And if anybody is watching this, make sure you share this, because if you do not have a will and you don't have things in order, the same thing can happen to you when you leave this world. So Just keep his family uplifted in prayer. And let's remember the good times that Eric Mays have. I'm going to leave this video with you all to remind you of who he really was.
Eric Mays, first ward city councilman for the city of Flint. I represent the first ward, which is the farthest north end of the city of Flint. About 11,000 residents. I would say it's about 96% or so black, and we've got all the issues: high crime, abandoned houses.
So explain how the emergency manager worked and how the decision was made to switch to the Flint River.
If you look at Public Act 436 and even Public Act 4, whenever a city was in so-called quote-unquote or quote emergency financial distress or financial trouble, unquote, whoever defined that and however the city got there with a general fund budget deficit, the governor would appoint a review team, and the review team might recommend an emergency manager come in. In my opinion, some of that was created because the governor took revenue sharing away from cities and helped create financial distress, about $55 million at some point from the city of Flint.
Wait, you're saying they take the money from Flint and they send it elsewhere in Michigan?
In this case, our money was taken from Flint, Detroit, and other municipalities, and the governor then boasted in some cases a surplus for the state. And so that's why we say in some cases the governor helped create the deficit and then would send in a emergency manager.
This is how I choose to remember Eric Mays, a man that was committed to helping his community and helping others. And I hope you will do the same.